Well, hi, Amy. I'm so excited to have you today on the Seeking Sunshine podcast. How are you?
I'm wonderful, Carly. How are you? I'm so excited to actually meet you in person. Well,
I know,
kind of a person.
I know. I'm doing so good. I'm really excited to talk to you today and to learn more about you and hear about how you do the things that light you up in a world where we are so often taught to only do what we're supposed to do.
Yes, yes. Perfect.
Yeah, so let's dive in. I want to hear
Okay,
your story and how
perfect.
you got to where you are today.
So I am the middle of five children, and I was always we all labeled. I was labeled the I'm not politically correct anymore, but the black sheep of the family. I did my own thing. I was like I said, I was there's 5 years between the oldest and the youngest, and I just always wanted to do my own thing. And I always got tapped down. You're too loud, you're too this, you're too that, you're
Mm,
too the other. And I think a lot of us that gravitate towards each other are the exact same way.
yeah.
Totally. So my whole life, I was like, what is going on with me? Like, why can't I do? Why do you tell me who I am? And finally, I think high school, I broke free. I got a little wild. College, I was wild. I did my thing. And my dad left when I was 5, so I never really knew him. We'd see him occasionally, but I got to know his mom very well. My grandma was and I were very close. And I met my husband. He's phenomenal. He encourages me to do all the crazy stuff I want to do. And again, my family's like, no, 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 no. And I have since said, divorced myself from my family because it was the healthiest thing for me to do for my birth family.
Yeah.
And so long story short, I just do my stuff. My husband's very supportive. When my grandma died, I got to know my dad. And at this time I'm still doing things, but I'm very reserved, kind of like, maybe I should do this, but maybe I shouldn't. Very self-conscious. Again, going back to my childhood. And I got to know my dad. I got to see who I was through my dad's eyes. Got to see how entwined we were without even knowing him. Like we would finish each other's sentences. So I'm like, wow, he's very outspoken. He's very spiritual. He just tells you how it is, and nobody tells him he's wrong. Nobody tells him not to be. So with that being said, I got very close to him. I ended up finishing out his chapter of his life as executor. And after it was all done and over with, my husband said that was one of the best things could have ever happened to you, getting to know your dad. I was the best thing, but that was the second best thing. And it's just
Yeah.
because I finally found my home, finally found my voice, and found me in getting to know my dad and having him not judge me. Not, and he didn't even know me really, but he just accepted me. I'm like, this is a new way of being with, obviously my husband accepts me, but being part of my birth family, just accepting me for who I am. So yeah, a huge wake up. And my dad was actually into spirituality and crystals and all this good stuff. And he loved Wayne Dyer. And so we would chit chat about him a lot. And when my dad passed away, I started going through his stuff and found all kinds of crystals. So I'm like, okay, let's dive into this a little bit more. So I do know a little bit about crystals, but honestly, what it came down to is me feeling comfortable with myself and being like, you know what, it's okay. It's okay to screw up, but it's not okay not to do stuff. It's not okay to hide behind anymore and not be
Yeah.
seen. Then I had a mentor, Sunny Dawn Johnston, and I won a free reading with her. And she basically said, why are you playing small? Why don't you see your beautiful bright light, your beautiful self? I'm like, I don't know why.
It's so
But
funny because I was just about to say like those exact words. Like we are taught
really,
to play small
yes,
our
yes,
whole lives
yes,
because there's this ingrained thing in so many families of origin where it's like play small to fit in because that's what I see that's going to help you, that's the
yes,
voices that we're hearing. Like
yes, exactly.
because if you could just fit in, then and lead this quiet little life, then that's how you're gonna be successful. And it's
Right.
like, wait a minute, we have to redefine what success is because
Yeah.
that's not success.
Yes, exactly. And believe me, you've redefined success tremendously with what you're doing and getting out there and shining.
Yeah.
But it's funny enough, I had this like whisper, I call my beautiful whisper my entire life, just nudging, this whispering, like, go do. But I'm like, no, I can't do it. So when I got to know my dad and felt more comfortable with speaking my mind and not caring what anybody thought, I decided I'm going to start listening to the whisper. And I stood on the bank of my creek the one day. I'm like, okay, God, what do you want from me? And literally the next day I got the reading from Sunny. Sunny told me the words I needed to hear. I'm like, well, screw it. I'm gonna start a group on Facebook for women who feel like me,
Mm,
who don't know how to be seen. It's called Becoming You, Beautiful Whispers.
I love it.
Yeah, it's
Well,
just about
what's so funny is I feel like those readings that just like touch your soul. It's like, wait a minute, you actually already knew
yeah,
all of that, and it's
yes,
just validation of like everything that was already inside you,
exactly.
and you
Just
just needed that permission to
yes,
be fully you.
yes, exactly, exactly. So that's true. And it just clicked. It just clicked. So like I started a group. I don't care if anybody shows up. And I started to go live. Now, me, I hate public speaking. I used to make myself ill in college when I had a public speaking class with 8 kids in it, 8 people. That was it. And a teacher, and long story short. But so I'm like, you know what? I got to do this. I got to talk. So I went live. I go live every Sunday night now. I do angel card readings as well. I like to say I have a tool belt, and I love to shove stuff in my tool belt. Angel card readings is one of the things that I do. I also became an international best-selling author.
It's
Uh,
amazing.
yeah, November 2022.
Well,
And
and I bet that that brought up so many things, like to share your voice in that way and being an author, like, oh
yes,
my
yes,
goodness.
yes.
Like,
So I'm like, okay, what do I do? So long story short, my mom was sick around that time. And I'm like, I gotta tell my story. I have to. And it just rolled out and onto the computer. And my chapter is like my beautiful whispers. And it's about growing up, exactly what I just said about not feeling like I belonged or worthy. And me and my dad was like the thing that I needed, like just to spark me into, I don't give a crap anymore. Like it's just me.
yeah. And I bet so
So
many people relate to that.
yeah, yeah.
And I've heard this so many times, and I think I was just saying it the other day that like the more specific, the more detailed and nuanced that you tell your story, the more people are able to relate to it because they're like they see themselves in the details of your story.
Right, right. And it's just so funny because I've had so many people say, "Oh my God, I'm like, wow, I thought it was just me growing up." I'm like, "It's me. What's wrong with me? Why do I feel this way? There's something
Why
wrong with."
why can't I shove myself into that box? Why
Exactly.
can't I make me fit
Right,
into the
right.
thing that is supposed to be normal? And then it's like,
Exactly.
wait a minute. No, actually there is no normal. Normal doesn't
Exactly.
exist.
Exactly. You're perfect. So like doing this, and I got a little panicked because it's not nasty about my family. It's just like basically I needed to go. It wasn't a good fit. And I was like, oh my God, it's coming out in September. My mom's not good. Blah 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 blah. Thank God it got pushed back to like the end of October, Halloween weekend. She died November 2nd. So
Wow.
she never read it, thankfully. And I don't want to say that as a bad way because I everything I put in the chapter, I stand by. But with her health, I didn't want to cause any problems
But
with
it
her.
felt like a sense of freedom to be able to
Exactly.
share your perspective
Exactly.
without that kind of hanging over you.
Bingo. Perfectly said. Exactly. So once I wrote the chapter, and actually I'm writing another chapter for another book for the same group of women. I'm like, why can't I just do? So I got nudged to do the angel cards. So I got certified with Kyle Gray. And then I'm like, what else can I do? So I got nudged to start taking Reiki classes.
Oh, I love Reiki.
I do too. I do too. So I'm a certified, I'm actually a Reiki Master Teacher as of a
Amazing.
few months ago. And it's just allowing yourself to listen to what's being said to you,
Mm.
whether it's through your ears or through your heart. I get talked through my heart all the time. Ears, I don't listen too well some days, but it's just
Well,
allowing yourself.
yeah, absolutely. I was just saying this actually to my husband. I was helping him make a decision, and it was, do you listen to the logical like story, the reasons behind it? It's like
Right.
actually that's not the way to go. You need to listen to your body, to your heart, to what you feel. And it doesn't really matter like I'm like I don't care which way you go. like the outcome doesn't matter to me. I want you to listen to the way you feel, because go with the one that feels right. And those modalities, all of them help you to stop with all of the reasons and all of the logic and all of the ways that we've been taught in school and all of the outside sources that are like, get out of you and stop listening to you and listen to other people. And they help you come back home to you,
Exactly.
to the
Exactly.
inspiration that is
Mhm.
already inside of you,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you just slow down long enough to listen to it.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's funny how, like you said, when you slow down long enough to listen to it and you go on your path, right? And the magic that opens up
Mm,
when you say yes,
yes.
and just everything unfolding. And I sit outside quite often, and I'm like, okay, God, universe, whoever you want to call,
Mm,
what do you got next? What do you got for
yes.
me? I'm ready. The answer is yes. You got to watch how you say that, though. Sometimes you got to ask for grace and ease, because sometimes, yeah, it's a lot. But and I sit and think, where would I be right now if I hadn't done the initial, like, I need to go, I need to do. And I've gotten confirmation time and time again that I had to leave my family in
Yeah.
order to be where I am now. And yes, it's sad. Yes, it's sad, but I have my husband. He's my base. And I'm so blessed to have him. And just everything that we all go through. Like I said, I like to say it like you start out in your mountain, you're climbing your mountain, and you get to the peak, or what you think is the peak, and you look around, you're like, look at me, look what I did. And then you're okay, let's go. What's next? What's next? And then you get smacked down the mountain, down dirt. Your face is in the dirt. You're like, why? Why? Why did I get put down here? I was at the top of my
Right.
mountain because you asked what was next. Your
Yeah.
soul wanted to know that you were ready to say and to do what's been asked of you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, and when it comes to families, like one way to really, I don't know, put this in perspective is if you've ever thought about like you leave home as a young adult and you kind of grow up and you become this independent human being. And then if you've ever thought about what it's like when you go home for Thanksgiving and how all of a sudden you're like snapped back into the person that you were before you left home, and you're like, wait a minute, I've
Yeah.
worked so hard on myself. How am I
Yes.
like backwards into that person I was before? Like I'm being triggered by
Yes.
all of these things that
Yeah.
I've worked so hard to not be triggered by. And just like that, boom, I'm
The
this old
second.
version of me.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you just think about that for a minute, it's like that's exactly right. Like when you're surrounded by people who were the people you were with when you were that person, like you have to put new people around you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to surround yourself by the highest, most loving people
Mm.
if you want to be the highest, most loving version of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you just have to. So it makes total sense to choose, a
Mm.
separation. And the degree of that, depends on your life and your circumstances and what you
Mhm.
need for you. But it makes sense, that sometimes that's necessary for us to really evolve to our best place.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, I thought there was something wrong with me. I would always say, what's wrong with me? Why, why? Just why? Why you tell me that I can't wear black clothes? Why you tell me I'm too loud? Why you tell me I shouldn't say that? Why you tell me to filter my words, filter my act? Like, why? What is wrong with me that it's okay for you to come after me and tell me that I'm not okay? And I spent my whole life,
Mm,
well, childhood and adolescence thinking I wasn't good enough. And that led
yeah.
to all kinds of bad relationships
Mm-hmm.
with begging people to stay in your life
Yep.
and like degrading yourself to the lowest low just to make somebody love you or make you feel like you're being loved. And that when they would love you, it wasn't what you needed. It actually
Yeah.
wasn't love at all, you
It
know?
becomes so deeply ingrained. Like it's actually literally cellularly ingrained in your body, like in who you are, like things that happened before you could form memories.
Mhm.
Like it takes such deep healing work to start to realize like who you are separate from the way you were raised.
Yeah, yeah. And who you're told you are.
Mm.
That's the hardest part. I'm like, this isn't me. And then you get to the point like you stop fighting it.
Yeah, well, and what's
Too
more
much.
is it's not just what you were told. It's actually what you were told is almost just like the cherry on top of it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
what your really it's what your mother thought about herself.
exactly. Yeah,
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 it's what
yeah.
she believed to be true of herself. So if her own self-esteem was rock bottom, if she thought that she was worthless, but you were gold, what you picked up was not that you were gold, it's that you were worthless. You took
Right,
on her level of self-esteem, not what she thought of you,
right,
which is why for parents, like you need to do that self work and increase your own self esteem. That's the best way to help your kids,
yeah.
not telling them that they're amazing while thinking you're crap.
Exactly, exactly. And it's funny because I didn't ever realize that till right like before she passed. I'm like, wow, this is just sad. I feel sad for her.
Yeah. Because it's not
Like,
about blame.
no,
It's
no, but
so very much about like compassion and like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I have so much like love and because I understand better now, like where she was coming from,
mhm,
it was out of love,
right,
but not for herself, unfortunately.
exactly, exactly. And she, my dad, divorced, and she never got remarried, and he moved on, and when I got to start talking to my dad, she's like, "What did he say? What did he say? What did he say?" I'm like, "Mom, he doesn't even think about you. He
Mm.
doesn't even talk about you. Like it's not. It's about you, Mom. You need to go talk to somebody." Because it's about, you're right, your worth and knowing you're enough. And she was always bragging about her 5 kids and how great we were, and her house. That's just all she had.
Mm.
Like, and I'm like, no. And then I just, when I saw her as she got older, and unfortunately she stopped talking to me for a number of years. And when she passed, we were not, she used to be my best friend, and something happened. And I think it's when I got to know my dad, she switched the light switch off on me. Our relationship just was done. And unfortunately the family followed suit with the whole thing. But and I just sat there, I would go up and visit her in the nursing home, and I just sat there like sad, like, wow, like, be happy, be happy. And it's not easy. We all know how hard that can be. But like you said, what lights you up? If it's walking out in the rain, or walking barefoot in the puddles, or like stopping and smelling the flowers, or laughing at your silly dog rolling around the floor growling at nothing. Like
Yeah.
that lights me up. And I used to say to my husband before we got married, it's the smallest things in life that
Yeah.
make me the happiest. I mean, seeing the dragonfly land on my finger, to me, knowing that that's a sign. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
it. And I used to get told that was coincidences. When I'm thinking of my grandma and I hear like her name mentioned, or think of my dad and I hear Frank Sinatra, that's
Mm.
not a coincidence.
Well, and here's the thing with coincidences is you get to choose your perspective.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you have the power
yeah.
to choose whether or
Yes,
not you decide if it's a coincidence
right.
or if it is fate. And
Amazing.
which one makes you happier?
The
Which
magic,
one, right? Does the magic
the
of
magic.
everything is aligned in your
Yes,
favor,
yes.
does that one make you happier? Because it sure does for me.
It
Or if
just makes
everything's random.
right, right. Like, how could you
That
be
doesn't.
thinking about something, and then they call you? Like that's
Mm.
that's like boom. Like, and you're like, oh my God, that was for me.
Like the
Like that
universe
was
has
for me.
orchestrated all
Yes.
things in my favor. Oh, hey, that thought is so much more joyful and
Yes.
amazing and magical
Yes.
than the, oh, it's just coincidence.
Yeah.
Leave it
Yeah.
be. There's no
Exactly.
magic. There's no
No. Mm-mm.
alignment. Like, ugh, that one's you. I don't like that
It's
one.
icky.
But you get to choose. You have the choice, you have the
Right.
power. And so
Right.
then you get to allow everyone else to also make that choice of which one they're
Exactly.
going to decide
Exactly.
for them is true.
Right. That's absolutely true. And I just, it's just about going through your day. And yeah, listen, I'm not always happy go lucky. Like we all get our little pissy
Oh,
moods.
yeah.
More often than I like to talk about, but it's just your perspective.
Yeah.
It's your, like you said, what lights you, like what makes it be so that you have a smile on your face?
Yeah.
What makes it like you glow? What makes you glow? what lights you up? Like how could you not take the beautiful sunshine? Yeah, some people say it's hot. But you know what? It's making my hair blonde. You know what I mean? Like, why how could you not like just enjoy just like
Yeah.
walking, being free, and just like I said, the Reiki has been amazing for me as well.
Yeah.
The angel cards, I've always been very intuitive, and I was told no, it's just again coincidence. And so I did the angel cards, I did the Reiki, and I did 2 sessions yesterday with people. And let me tell you, when I got done, I was on fire. On
Yes.
fire. I'm like, okay, what? And people are like, you're supposed to talk to your Reiki master, your Yusui. I'm Reiki, Yusui. And I'm like, no, I bring it into, and not being overly religious, but I bring it into spirit, to God, the
Yeah, I
universe.
love it.
I call it the universe, and be like, well, weren't you raised Catholic? Yeah, but it's Mary and my angels, and I now found out that I have all kinds of the Council of Lights helping me now, and
It's
all
all
kinds of,
one. It's
exactly. It's all the universe to
all
me.
together. Well,
Yeah.
and one thing I wanted to bring it back to you that you said just a minute ago was like, well, I'm not always happy.
Right, right.
And like that's essential. Like we forget that like we have to understand to the deepest level the not happy. We have to know that in order to know the happy. If there
Yes.
was not contrast, then all of it would be the same. And we
Right,
would
right.
not know joy.
Yes, yes.
We have to know, unfortunately, the pain and the
Um,
sorrow and this, like, we have to know those opposite end
yeah,
experiences in
yeah.
order to even comprehend the joy and the light and the fun. Like,
Hmm.
we need those.
Yeah, yeah. And we get not happy at the core of it all. Yes, we could be just sad because somebody passed away, but at the core of it, knowing who we truly are,
Mm,
knowing our worth, knowing just that voice is there, and that voice is guiding, and that voice is just the all knowing. And
yeah.
that's there for me. Yes, I'm sad somebody passed away. I'm angry that this one cut me off in traffic, or God forbid hit
Yeah.
my truck, or whatever. But underneath of it all, underneath that anger or sadness or bitterness or whatever it is that we're having in that moment, we have that underlying, hey, I'm worthy. I am
Yeah.
worthy just because I'm me. Bad hair days, whatever, overweightness, whatever it is that you're experiencing, it's the underlying that you're okay.
Yeah.
And that shines from within. When you have that,
Yeah.
even when you're having a bad day, you shine. You still shine, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, and when you see those moments of sunshine, of beauty, of serendipity. It's like, oh, I'm worthy of seeing the stars shimmer at night. I'm worthy of seeing a shooting star. I'm worthy of seeing the magnificent mountains because I live in Utah. I live where I see
Right.
mountains. Or I'm
Nice, nice.
worthy of seeing that sunset. I'm
Yeah.
worthy of seeing things align for me in the craziest way that just like was
Can't explain.
astounding,
Yeah.
like how I just narrowly didn't die in that car thing, like, right? Like I'm worthy
Mhm.
of all of the magic.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you look for it, you'll find it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can promise you, you'll find it. But
Yeah.
also, the opposite's true. If you look for the negativity, you'll find that
Gonna find
too.
it.
So
You're
just
right,
depends
right.
on what you're looking for.
Right. And I go out a lot at night. I'm like, okay, look in the stars and the sky. And I live in Pennsylvania, and we did not get to see the Northern Lights, but I won't go there because we have
I didn't get
clouds.
to see it either. I'm an hour
Okay.
shy. They
Ah,
saw
okay.
them all an hour north of me, and I
Oh,
did not get to
wow.
see them. Yeah, we
Oh,
were too south
okay. We'll
just by a
commiserate
hair.
together.
It's okay. I saw pictures on the internet. I was like, good
Oh,
enough. I was asleep.
gorgeous. So like I go out under the like the moonlight, but just like look and be like, I feel like I'm under a big dome.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're all connected. And that being so simple to some people, being able to breathe the fresh air or the chilly air or whatever air wants to be today in Pennsylvania, looking up and being like, oh my God, like oh my God, like that lights me up. I have such an affinity towards the moon and the night sky and
Yeah.
water, and like even just running my hands under the water and just being like, thank you. And I'm always about a thank you. Not necessarily for anything in particular, just be like, thank you, thank you.
It's like I'm alive. I get to
Yeah,
enjoy all of these incredible parts of living. And like there like I could not be like I
Yeah,
could be there's so many opposites that could be in existence for me right now that are not. Like I get to be enjoying this exact moment the way it is, and you only get to enjoy it if you pay attention to it.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, let's face it, there's so many signs and things what we miss during the day anyway, as a normal going about our day, that, like I said, it's the little things. It could be the ladybug that flew in, landed on my pocketbook the other day. I'm like, where have you been? Like, I haven't seen a ladybug in years. Or the
Yeah.
caterpillar, I went out to go to work in the morning, like, there's a caterpillar on my tire. And I'm like, I have not seen a caterpillar in probably 10 years.
Right. I'm like, that reminds me of the magic of childhood when we used to
Yeah.
like play with little bugs before I was like, you bugs, right? Now.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah. And like the other day I was out back, I was just having to catch something out of the corner of my eye. And I looked and here it was a doe running
Oh,
down my hill. And I just saw the back end of the tail, just as she ran
yeah.
away and across the creek and I got her in mid-run. I'm like, how awesome is that? Like I
That
got
is
actually, and
amazing.
it's not
We
even blurry.
we get deer around here constantly, and I swear every time I see that, I'm like, oh, there's deer. How magical
Yeah,
is that? Which is so
I
funny
know.
because they're everywhere,
Everywhere. I know.
everywhere. But
Yeah.
yet they're part of this magical creation. And what's really fun is my husband works in this industrial park, and which is the most crazy thing because the drive to his office is one of the most stunning drives you'd ever see because they put this like I'm sure it's this big man-made like pond with like these big fake waterfalls or like not waterfalls but like what am I
Fountains.
thinking of? Fountains, yeah, that come out
Right
of the
out the
middle
middle
of
of
the
them.
lake,
Yeah.
and like there's up 100,000 geese and ducks, and it's like there's big, huge trees. It's so gorgeous, this drive. And then there's all these industrial buildings and like plants, and like you're like, okay, but it's so pretty, and it's like this is amazing. And if you go at the wrong time of day, it smells horrific because one of them's like a sewage treatment plant, and you're like,
Oh,
the irony is hilarious, but the pelicans are back. And I was like just like skipping with glee and like I had to pull over on the side of the road to take pictures of them today because they were there like a year ago
oh
and they're
wow.
back and I'm like, what are pelicans doing in the middle of Utah? I don't care,
Yeah.
but I have to come take pictures of the dang
Oh,
pelicans that are in the
that's
middle of this
awesome.
man-made teeny tiny pond in this industrial park. It
Makes no sense. It makes no
which
sense.
it's like makes no sense. It's so
No.
weird, but they're the most magical thing in my day. I'm like, this is so cool that there are pelicans here. And it's like you get to decide if you're gonna go see magic or not.
Right,
You
right.
can decide to go drive through this place and only see the stinky industrial buildings, or you can see the magic. And that's
Yeah.
part of all of our lives. And like, even if you live in like I'm thankful that in our city there's a lot of trees. There's a lot of growth, you know. But if you live in like LA or a really big city, like even the little flowers that are growing in between the concrete slabs, like you can find the magic.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. It's funny because when we first moved into our house, I grew up in this neighborhood. I grew up like 3 streets over. And we went anywhere from here up 20 minutes away looking for houses. And we settled back in the neighborhood. And when I first moved in, I saw this bird,
Mm.
long wings, short, like long, long, thin legs. And I called our local zoo. I'm like, are you missing a bird? And she's like, what? And she's like, and she must have been laughing at me. Came back on and she goes, honey, that's a blue heron. It's native to Pennsylvania. Leave it alone. I call my
Oh,
husband. I'm like, hey, so I saw a bird that looks like a flamingo. Well, now, 22 years later, he's like, my wife said she saw a flamingo in the backyard. I'm like, oh, but it's just, and we have like a little plastic flamingo out now by our fire pit, just as a big joke. But that to me,
it's
it's still all
amazing.
these years later. I'm like, it does look like a thing. John's like, is it pink? I'm like, well, no, it's blue gray, but the wings and the little
It's
leg.
magical. Like we've
Exactly.
got We've got cranes over
Yeah,
there. There's
yeah,
these
yeah.
giant water rats that are literally almost the size of my dog. Like they're so freaking huge. And I have a bulldog, so she's not small.
That's what I'm saying.
There are
Right,
these like
right.
giant water rats that run around, and you're like, what the heck is that? Is it gonna kill me?
Oh
But
my
anyways,
God.
it's like you can find magic in the most unexpected places, but you have to look for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. Like, and most of us don't grow up this way.
Yeah.
Or the people I know didn't grow up this way. It was just like put your nose to the grindstone,
Yeah.
plan your life out, get married, have kids, go to college if
Yeah.
you want, and just do, 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 do. And I know with Kathy Heller, especially being in her group now,
Mhm.
she lights up, and it's not about doing anymore. It's just about being.
Yes. The
And that's
importance of being
mm,
is unparalleled.
yeah,
And it's a
yeah,
whole different way to see the world, especially when you were taught that your value is in what you can do. And it's like, oh, wait, that's not true. That's
yeah.
not true. That's been one of the most life-changing things I've ever learned that, like, oh, my value is just in me.
Me. And that's why, like, when I did my chapter and I said it, Beautiful Whispers, my Beautiful Whispers, and my Facebook group, it's becoming you. Who do you want to be? Who are you being called to step forward into being? And it's like you have to undo things in order to do things, to become and that's great. But besides all of that, again, what do you want to be? What do you want um to do? What do you want to say yes to?
Yeah. Well, and
You
when
know,
you do from being,
yes, it's
there's a
different.
huge difference than when you
Yeah,
do
yeah.
from doing, from that really tensed
So,
up, like I have to be productive or I'm
right,
worthless
right,
kind of energy. Well, and one of the things that I was one of the ways I've been taught this is I've got three kids with special needs, and I have a severely
wow,
autistic 12-year-old who it's like he has no interest in doing for productivity. He's like, "Mm, no, thanks, pass. My worth is I don't need to prove anything to anybody. I just am. Thank you very much."
right,
Like he
right.
just owns his value free and
Amazing.
clear, not proving anything to anyone. And like to watch his example is kind of to change your life, like right there.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing because I don't know why, but growing up, I wasn't around special needs children at all. And I was kind of sheltered growing up. And I have somebody who has a special needs child, son, and just to see his face light up
Yeah.
when he's walking along and on the swings, and he's older, he's not like he's a little kid, he's in his teens, and just like, oh my God, to be that happy and
Yeah.
that carefree, and not even realize that the world can think so many nice things of people, and just to be like, oh my, like, just be free.
Mm.
It's just amazing. And God bless you, because that you are a special person, because that, I'm sure, is a lot of work, but the rewards must be amazing for you. And being able to live through their eyes and see what they see
Yeah.
as an innocent, not tarnished, not marked by what's supposed to be. They're
Yeah.
just being, and
Yeah.
it's
There's
amazing
so
to me.
many lessons in that. So how it's amazing to watch you as you've learned to see this story unfold as you've learned how to be and to get rid of all the supposed tos. How else have you been able to get rid of that and step into you and your own power?
A lot of faith, a lot of praying, a lot of crying, a lot of screaming, a lot of why do I think I'm not worthy?
Mm,
Who the hell told me that I wasn't worthy enough? Why? Because I don't have like the perfect face or body or a perfect education, or I don't, make $1 million a year. Like it was a lot
all
of soul
those
searching.
reasons that we
Yeah,
think make somebody worthy.
right.
Money makes you worthy, right? Oh, wait. Oh, wait. No, nope.
Yeah.
And how many people who have lots of money also
Miserable.
don't think they're worthy?
Yeah,
How
yeah,
many people who are, models who are literally, I mean, like gorgeous like models who are getting paid for their looks
yeah,
don't think
yeah,
that they're worthy, who are doing really unhealthy, awful things to their bodies to maintain that.
Right.
standard that somebody else made up, like how, like they also are struggling with the same worthiness issue because those things don't make you worthy
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're already worthy. Because you're
Exactly.
already enough, because perfect doesn't exist, because
Exactly.
you're already the most incredible human being just now, just
Like,
as you are, before you lose the weight, before you get a facelift, before you put on makeup, before you put on fancy clothes. Like, nope, you're good enough now. You're actually amazing right now, before you write the book, before you go get that job, before you be productive,
mhm.
before you get out of bed, before you brush your teeth. You're good enough now, right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of it's in the silence when you allow yourself to just, again, be in the silence and allow yourself, again, not the ears necessarily, me, but the heart, listen. Just allow yourself to say, okay, what's next? What do you have? What are you trying to tell me? What does that butterfly mean? What
Yeah.
is that? What's that flamingo mean? What? And when you get and just sit, and people are like, I can't meditate. I'm like, it doesn't, it's just sitting. It's listening. It's just being still long enough to get the downloads. And you'll hear repeatedly, no matter how many times you try to smack that voice down, that voice will tell you repeatedly that you're worthy and that you're good enough. You just have to take the time out to sit and listen to it.
Yeah.
That's the
Mm.
tough part. That's the tough part because when we're constantly being compared or see stuff on TV or whatever it is, and being told, like I said, they have to have the $1 million and the mansion and the Maserati and whatever it is, and be the size zero. When we're constantly being told that, and that's in our faces, like how do we figure it out? How do we figure it out? It's just allowing it to be. Screaming, crying, screaming to a pillow if you have to. Whatever it
Yeah.
is. It's just, and I have a tool belt. I call it my tool belt. And I'm like, what can I put my tool belt today? And I just shove something else in there. Another class, I'm taking a class on breath work now.
Oh, I
And
love it.
like I want to teach breath work and I want to start teaching yoga. And I'm actually giving a free class tomorrow night on chakras at a
Oh,
local
yeah.
area. Yeah, and I want to stream it to my group. So I'm not brave enough yet to stream it into my like Facebook. I just dumped my group with 300 women because I know that nobody else can see it. But eventually I'll get brave enough to stream it all over Facebook
Yeah.
and just be with it. But it's just saying yes when you
Yeah.
want to
I
say
love it.
no.
So
When you want to
beautiful.
say no.
Well, and one thing I've noticed is that all the voices and all of the things that are telling you that you're not enough, they all come with reasons. You're
Mhm.
not enough because you aren't skinny enough, you don't have that color hair, you aren't making enough money. Like there's a reason behind it. And
Yeah.
when it's you are enough, there's no reasons.
No, that's a
There's no
complete statement.
justifications. There's
Yeah.
just the feeling of love.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
literally just this, all-encompassing feeling. I mean, for me, it's right in my heart, but
Yeah.
it could
Yeah.
be in your gut. It could
Yeah.
be, where do you feel it? There's no justifications.
Yeah.
There's no 1,000 reasons why
Yeah.
you're enough because you just are.
Yeah. So I tell my ladies, I'm like, you are, you are enough. Like close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, take a deep breath in,
Mm,
feel that. Hold it for 4 seconds and blow it out. However you
mm.
feel fit, fast or slow. That is where it all centers right here. That's your connection. That's your oneness.
Yeah.
That's your enoughness.
So beautiful.
Yeah, that's it. And
Mm,
even sitting here, I feel my Reiki hands heating up.
yeah.
I just with that connection, it's that easy.
Yeah.
Although that hard for it's
Well, it takes
so that easy.
practice to
Yeah,
tune
yeah,
in to that understanding of what that feels like.
yeah,
Because when you've been cutting yourself off for so long, you're like, I don't know what love feels like,
yeah,
especially self-love. Like, I've
yeah,
been disconnected from
yeah,
that for my whole life. So it takes you time to tap into that understanding, to tap into that feeling again. So it's not that it's like it is that simple, but it takes
But
time for you to go, "Oh, wait, I can feel it now because I've
yeah,
come back home to it." It just takes
yeah,
time to get used to that again,
yeah.
to allow yourself to feel it again. So if you don't feel it right away, like, that's so normal, and
Right,
so it's
right,
just because you've been gone from it for so
right,
long.
right. And if you sit and think about, I know growing up, how many times we searched outside ourselves,
Mm,
right? Mine was
yeah,
like this boyfriend, that boyfriend, searched for, I want him to love me, and I'm
yeah.
gonna conform to what he wants.
I'll be enough if that happens. I'll be enough if I get that thing, if I
Exactly,
get that thing,
exactly.
if that
Right,
person loves me,
right,
then
exactly.
I'll be enough.
I'll do what he wants, or I'll do or say and act and be and fit whatever. And then when you finally sit and think, I'm not happy, I'm not, I don't know who I am anymore. Who am I? Who am I? And that's a really great question to ask yourself almost every day. Who am I? Who do I want to be today?
Yeah.
What's it telling me in my heart that I already know? It's nothing like made up. It's already here. It's already here. And it's just about coming home to who you are and
Mm.
allowing yourself to be the love that you are. And it doesn't have to be love for anybody else. It can be just love for yourself is the most important. Being the love for yourself that says, today I'm shutting off the TV and the phone and I'm just going to hang out and watch TV all day. Because you know why? I can. And I love myself. I'm allowing myself to do this.
Well,
Does it
and
make sense?
the more love that you have for yourself, the more there is to give to other people. Like,
Absolutely.
so it's like
Absolutely.
it's easy to look at that and be like, "Oh, well, that's selfish if I'm just giving myself love." No, that's actually like it's exponentially increasing what you have then to give
Yeah.
to others. And if
Absolutely.
you aren't giving that to yourself, you're literally decreasing what you have to give to others.
Exactly. Exactly. And people think the more I give and do, and more I give, to help this person, help that person, help the other person, the more I'm going to be loved, or the more I'm going to be liked, or the more I'm going to have people when I need them. And what it comes down to is you turn around and look when you need people, there's not usually any people there.
If you're depleting yourself,
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah.
depleting your greatest resource.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So yeah, it's a learning, obviously learning process, and
Yeah.
an everyday learning process,
Yeah.
because some days you're like, and you just realize, you know what? It's in essence, life is short. It is. You never know tomorrow what's going to happen. So
Yeah.
like I try to live, and you're in the same boat. You like to try to just be who you are right now, and just like say you see the magic,
Yeah.
little as it is.
Well,
You
and
could
it's
see
like,
something little. Yeah.
yeah, the what was it? The five greatest regrets of the
The
dying. It's like that
dying.
they didn't live their lives as
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
Like they didn't like do what they didn't do what lights them up, right?
I got a phone call. My dad was in hospice the last week of his life. He was out of it. Would literally wake up for 2 minutes a day. And I got a phone call at like 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, oh, well, here it is. And the nurse is like, your dad's still alive, but I found him sobbing in his bed. And I asked him, what's wrong? And he said, I'm just sorry. She said, what do you mean? He said, I just wish I would have done this differently or done that differently. And he said, I just hope she can forgive me. And I took that to mean me because he had left me a little bit of a mess when he passed with his estate to deal with. And I just feel like that on his deathbed, he brought up all the things and all the memories and all the things he should have, could have, would have done had he just allowed himself to be himself and do what he had to do. He was very spiritual and he didn't mince words, but he was a lot of doing. Even though he was very spiritual, he still did a lot. And I was like, wow, like that just hit home with me. Like, I don't ever want to have that regret. The things I should have said yes to or no to or whatever. It would have been very easy to say no to your podcast because I don't personally love speaking in public. But I'm like, you know what? There's nothing to lose by me saying yes. It's actually a lot of fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's been
so
really a
much
lot of
fun. It's
fun.
my favorite
Yeah,
thing to do.
yeah, I know. And you know what? Podcast for 2024, I think is on my list as well, even though I don't love to speak that much. But yeah, but
Well, and you're amazing at it, so I don't know why.
oh, thank you. Thank you.
This
But
has been so fun.
I'm so appreciative of you and you offering the the stick for somebody to grab and be like, okay, I can do that. And
Yeah.
just when you're in our group and you just light up and you talk and what you write is so inspirational. And I'm like, wow, it's just amazing to be around other people that are like that bring the sunshine, even if you're having a really bad day, they bring
Yeah.
the sunshine. And some days you're like, would you please stop it? Like, I can't deal with you today because you're too sunny. But you know what? That's their gift at that moment. And that's what you probably need at that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just about, even though you're having a rough day, they're those kind of people, your kind of people, you know that you're solid and you're there. And you know that if you're having a bad day, there's somebody else in our group that will pat you on the back and be like, okay, it's okay. Have a bad day, but I'm here for you.
Yeah. Well, and it's
And
like the importance of always being your best you.
yes,
Like
yes,
always showing up as your best you because
yes,
everyone's going to have their own
yeah,
filters, their own lenses, their own day that they are
yeah,
looking
yeah,
at you through. And that is so good for them. Like let
yeah,
them, and then they're going to interpret things as they're going to interpret them.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then you just keep on being you
yeah.
because
And
you get to let them have their experience and you
yeah,
have yours.
right, right. And it goes back to just the
Yeah.
beingness of who you are called to be and allowing who you are to just shine. To shine because it's so easy to be like, no, I don't want to be seen that I got like a zit on my whatever. It's so easy to back out and put yourself in a corner.
You
But you
know,
know what?
it's
That's not what you're supposed to do.
literally the truth. Like I had Amanda Farron on yesterday and she was like, hold up, I got super glue my tooth back in my face before we have our meeting. And I'm
Oh,
like,
that's
girl,
hysterical. That's
yeah.
hysterical.
And I'm like, you're so amazing. Like, you don't care. Like, nobody
Yeah,
cares.
nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Because like, it's like we all have such an amazing light to shine. And if we could all just know that,
Yeah, yeah,
we'd be a little bit less self-conscious.
exactly, exactly. Just shine your like whatever that looks like for you, whether it's going to pet a dog on the corner, whatever it looks like, just whatever lights you up, makes you happy, like just do it.
Yeah.
And nobody has to understand it. It
So
just has to be what you understand it to be, and what you need it to be.
true.
So, amazing.
This has been amazing. So, so good. I so appreciate you. How can we follow you and find you and join your group and
Well,
all the things?
okay, so I'm on Facebook. It's called Becoming You, Beautiful Whispers.
Perfect.
It's got a real pink, pretty sunset. So you'll find me there. It's women only. Sorry, guys, women only. Because it's just about standing in your authenticity and being you. I also have a website, amykokoles.com, where my Reiki and my angel cards are on there. I also make bracelets. They're on there.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm in the Wild Woman's Book of Prosperity.
Oh yeah.
I'm an international best-selling author on this book, and we're writing our last in the series, the Wild Woman's Book of Alchemy will be out hopefully in September.
Love
So
it.
yeah, yeah, and then if you just want to find me regular Facebook, it's Amy Karmanski Kokoles or Amy Kokoles. I have both.
Oh, fabulous. I'm so excited for everyone to go find you and read your book and join your group. That's
Yeah,
amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so, so much for being on today. This has been
thank you.
a beautiful, beautiful conversation.
Thank you. I totally agree, and thank you for all you do.
Yeah. Thank you.
Take care.